Hey guys, in today's tutorial, I'm going to show you how you can build your own AI receptionist for any business out there. In the example we're doing today, we're going to be building for a dentist, and I will walk you through the process. But before we go ahead, I want you to listen to how the phone call is going to work for this automation. All right, let's test this out here.
Thank you for calling. This is Sarah from the dental clinic. I can help you book, reschedule, or cancel an appointment.
Hey Sarah, how are you doing?
I'm doing wonderfully. Thank you so much for asking. I hope you're having a great day as well. How can I help you today?
Yeah, I am doing great, and I'm looking to schedule an appointment for Thursday at 2 p.m.
That's wonderful to hear. I'm glad you're doing great. So you'd like to schedule an appointment for Thursday at 2 p.m. That would be Thursday, June 4th, 2026.
Yeah.
Sound right?
Yes.
Perfect. Do you have any time of day flexibility, or is 2 p.m. specifically what works for you?
2 p.m. works best for me.
This is that. Great news. We do have availability on Thursday, June 4th. I can see that 2 p.m. is open. So just to confirm, would you like to book Thursday, June 4th, 2026 at 2 p.m. Central Time?
Yes.
Great. Now I just need to collect a few details. Can I get your full name, please?
The name is Jane Doe.
Thank you, Jane. Can I get your email address? Please spell it out one character at a time. Thanks. Symbol and dot for any search.
Okay, it's going to be Ben, as in Ben, at GENESISFLO.com.
The full email address is ben@genesisflow.com.
That's correct.
Great. Can I get your phone number, please?
Phone number is 555-444-5555.
Thank you. And lastly, what's the reason for your visit today? Or is there anything you'd like the doctor to do?
Just regular checkup.
Let me go ahead and summarize everything before I book this for you. Name, Jane Doe. Email, ben@genesisflow.com. Phone, 555-444-5555. Appointment, Thursday, June 4th, 2026 at 2 p.m. Central Time. Reason, regular checkup. Does everything look correct?
Yes.
This is that. Your appointment has been successfully booked. Here's a quick recap. Jane Doe, Thursday, June 4th, 2026 at 2 p.m. Central Time for a regular checkup. You should be receiving a confirmation shortly. Is there anything else I can help you with?
No, that should be it, Sarah. Thank you so much.
You're so welcome, Jane. We look forward to seeing you on June 4th. Have a wonderful day.
You too. Bye. Okay, so you went and listened to that. That was a voice, an AI voice receptionist that basically can book, reschedule, and cancel appointments on behalf of any business. So if you're running, let's say, a dentist in this scenario, if you're a dentist in this scenario, someone calls into your office, this allows you to give your receptionist the chance to focus on other things and actually 10x your client intake, and also increase your revenue. So if it's something that you are interested in, stay tuned and let's build this together. I have to warn you, this is going to be a little bit of a longer video because I need to get into a little bit of details and make it a little bit technical. And we're building up to about 4 different scenarios. So it's going to take a little bit, but I don't apologize for the time. I think it's going to be a great value to you. So stay close and let's build this together. So for this to work, we're going to need access to 3 tools in here for this tutorial. You will need an account with Make.com. I recommend you have the core account, the core subscription. And then you will need an account with Vapi. Vapi is going to be where we will build our assistant. And you will need Cal.com. Cal.com basically allows you to be able to set your calendar and do some bookings. This is an also supported booking system, basically. I'm going to show you their website here. So if you go to Cal.com, you can create an account with Cal.com and basically set up everything. You will need 2 things here. Once you set up, you will need your, when you go into your dashboard, this is the Cal, you will need to create an event. You can go to new and create the event, give your name, the duration and everything for a collective. For yourself, if it's an event for just one person, a collective schedule meeting, you can do that, manage event, and then round robin, you can do like cycle meetings between multiple things. So for this one, you're using for myself for this tutorial, and you will put in your URL, which is right here. You'll put in your cal.com URL and the title, the duration. You can add other duration later, and then hit continue. Actually wants you to fill this up, but you will go ahead and walk through all of the settings and everything, and once you're done, you're going to see your events here, and then you can adjust the settings. So once you come in your cal.com account and in this event, you will need the event ID, which is right here at the top. You will need that. You can copy that from the link, and you will also have to go to your available working hours. You want to set that limited how often. You have the 30 minutes stuff in here. Advanced settings we can go to this is actually important because you will need to connect your calendar. So if you're using Google or Outlook or whatever it is you're doing, you will need to make that connection. Okay. And then this is not a recurring event, so we want to leave that, and that will be the settings that you need in here. And you click save when you're done. Now, once you're done, you also want to go to Vapi and create an account with Vapi. So if you go to get started, I already have an account, so I don't think it's going to have me go through the process again. But when you hit get started, you will be redirected to the process to create your account and everything. You can go and create your account and just leave it like that. We will set up all the other stuff later. For Vapi, you will have to sign up for a pay-as-you-go service where you can add funds and whatever it is in the funds in there. You can add your funds on the pay-as-you-go stuff. Don't do the custom one. I don't think you need custom if you're just starting out. Do the pay-as-you-go, and you can add any value. And you can add an amount that you want to put. So you can just add your information and it will go ahead and add the amount that you want to reload. But I think in the beginning, you will actually have some initial credits that you can work with. Now let's go ahead and start building the automations. So to build our automations as we know it, we're going to go into make.com. And you're going to hit create new scenario. So in your new scenario, what we want here is the first scenario we're going to build is going to be the get availability. So we'll say DNTL dental dash get availability. How do you spell availability? Okay. First thing that you need in this automation, in this scenario, is you need a webhook. Now webhook is going to be a custom webhook. Once you have that, you go to add and you're going to say dental get availability. We're just going to leave it like that. We don't need any API key for this, so we're going to save this. And basically you want to copy this and paste it somewhere. Okay. For now, you don't have to do anything. You can just leave it like that. We will set it up later. So, and then you go to the next module that we're going to add in here is going to be our set variables module. So why do we want to set the variable? So we actually need to set multiple variables because we're going to need a couple of stuff. The first thing that we need is the cal API key, cal.com. So cal API underscore key. Just going to do all of this with all caps. Okay. And then you will copy your, to create that API key, you're going to go to settings, and then under API keys, you'll see everything here. Create a new API key, name it. And then if you want it to never expire, you can go to hit never expire and do 7 days. I'm going to create one here. We'll say dental. Okay. And then we will create this. And then you want to copy this guy here. We'll go back to the automation and we'll paste that in here. Okay. And then the next thing that we need is we need a Vapi API key. Vapi, let's go API key. Okay. Same thing. You're going to go to your Vapi dashboard, go under API keys. You will have this by default. So you can just go ahead and copy it, copy both of them and stuff, or you can add a new key. You can add a new key and then select the assistant that you want to add it to. Let's say Vapi. So you can go ahead, copy, and then generate the token. It will go ahead and generate that. And then you go back here and paste that key in here. Okay. Paste that key, Vapi key, 1, 2, 3. So just use that temporary value. The next thing that you need is you need your event type ID. So we're going to say event type ID. Okay. For that event type ID, we're going to go to our our cal.com scheduling stuff. So I'm going to hit done on this one. We'll go back and we're going to go to events, click this link. And at the top here, you see this 7-digit, that's what we need. And we're going to paste that as the value in here. The next thing that you need is you need a start date. So we're going to say date start. And the value is going to be from the call list start date range. So basically the time that the person gave. And then you need also an end date. Okay, you need an end date. So I'm gonna just change this to SERT start date, make it easier. You need an end date as well, which is going to be the range that we're going to send to cal.com. You're going to need the time zone. You always need a time zone, because otherwise your AI is going to send this cal.com might send you all the way to 2050 or back in the future. You're going to time travel basically. Okay, we're going to need that. And then you're going to need your to call ID from Vapi. So you're going to need that. So these are the variables that you need. You're going to set that. We're going to save this for now. And then the next module that you need is going to be an HTTP module. We're going to use a get HTTP module to make a an API request to the cal.com server. So for this, we say no authentication. And we're trying to get an availability. And if you want to get an availability, I'm going to show you a very important skill that you can learn. So one of the things that you want to learn how to do is to read the documentation of any tool that you're working on or using in an application. And to do this, if you go to API build, in this here, you can go under bookings, and you can see here that we have a couple of things here. Okay, so if you go to the documentation, let's search for get booking or get slots. Okay, so if we want to get get an available time slots for an event type, you can click on that, and it's going to tell you what it needs. Okay, there are 4 ways to get an available time slots for an event type. By the event type ID, we can get it by the event type slug, event type slug plus username plus the organization by username only. And then if you scroll down, this is beautiful with cal.com. It actually gives you the ability to try it out. So you can actually make a live request to an event to find some slots, and it will tell you what's required. Number 1 is you need a required API key, right? So you need an authorization. So your bearer plus your bearer token, you need that. So if we go back, we can paste our, that's not what we want. I think we already, so let's go to set variable here, and we're going to copy this key. VR receptionist. So let's go back to event. You're going to paste that in here. So you need your API key. You need the version, which is, you always want to keep this accurate, because it actually needs to be accurate, the 2024-09-06. Okay. And then you need the start date. So the start date is going to be an ISO, which you can take any date here. What I'm going to say is 2026-06. Okay. And then you need an end date, which should be the same in this case. And then like it said in there, there are a couple of things that you can use, right, in order to find an event. And in this one, we're using the event type ID that we had in here. So if you copy this and go to that and paste that in here, now you can see how your HTTP request is supposed to be structured. So you need a URL, and a part of the URL that you need for your slots, you need your start date, you need your event type, you need your authorization, you need the Cal API version, and all of that. So you see exactly what to put in your HTTP request when you are building with cal.com. So we're going to go there, and the URL that we want for this is going to be the slots. We want to fetch slots, and this is going to be a get request, right? So when you are trying to take in information from a particular tool, you're performing a get request. When you want to add an information to a particular tool, you're using a post request. Okay, so we're doing a get request here, and in the headers, we need a couple of things. We need an authorization. You need an authorization. You need the value of that authorization, which is going to be bearer. And then it will be bearer, and then it will be our cal.com API key from the variables. So you see how variables are important. And then we need another stuff, which is going to be the API version, which is going to be the 2024-09-04. Okay, so that's what we need in our header. Now, because we're getting information, we need queries. We need to query, what do we need to get? For that, we're going to do queries. You need the event type ID. And one thing to also note is that you need to make sure that it's spelled exactly the same way it is spelled um, in cloud.com. Otherwise, it won't like receive it. Okay. Just gonna go back here. And the value for this event type ID is in our stuff already. Another parameter that we need is the start. And that is going to be in the start date. We need the end, another parameter. And that's going to be our end date. You also need another one, which is your time zone, which will be our time zone. Okay. So those are the stuff that we were requesting from in here. We're not sending any body content because we're not posting. We're trying to get information. So once that HTTP request goes, we want to send response back to Vapi to tell it that, hey, we got some stuff for this. We're going to use a router here. Now I use a router because we're going to set some filters. Now the first filter is slots available. So if the router that we're going to set, if the slots is found, let's say slots found, yeah, slots found, we want to say we're going to compare, we'll say the status code. If the status code from this module is equals to 200, then the slots was found, okay? And then we'll go here, same thing, slots not found. And then we'll say if the status code is not equals to 200, we want to send an error message back to Vapi. So what do we need? Okay, you will have access to everything that we have here in the link in the description to the Notion document. Just a heads up, you will need to enter your name and your email in order to have access to the documents. So we're gonna put our response webhook here, status code 200, and this is the body that you want to send. That is the to call ID that we're getting from in here, and then like a message saying that we have a slot available. So do that. And then if no slots are available, we're going to send another response in here. Okay, I'm going to say that. Okay. So this is our first automation, and that's to get the available schedule. Okay, so now that we're done with the first scenario, which is we already have, we're able to get availability to see if we have any slots available. We're gonna move to the next step wherein once the assistant finds the slots, it can go ahead and ask the person for their details, and then it will go ahead and create the appointment. So for that, we will start off with our webhook again. So for this, we need a webhook. I can get this to work. All right, webhook, and we're doing a custom webhook. And we'll go ahead and say, I already have one created. I call it dental, create appointment. So we're gonna use that. Okay, and we'll save this. Okay. And then once we have that, the next module that we want is we want to have a set variable module. So what I would do is I'm going to go to the get availability and I'm going to copy this specific module here. So we're going to select that, copy it, and I'm going to paste it here and connect it to this because it's pretty much almost the same things. We're just going to add a couple of stuff. So again, we have our Cal API key, we have the Vapi API key, the event type ID. We have our, instead of start date, we're going to need start ISO. And all of this is going to be coming from the webhook. So really all you need is once we send data to this, then we will have all of the things that we need. So I'm just copying the variables here. Again, the link is in the description and you can find everything in there. And then we need to get the name of the person. We need to get their email. So we will leave this empty for now. I'm just gonna leave these empty for now because we will send all of this later. Okay. We need their email. We need their phone number. We need a time zone. And then we need the tool call ID. Okay. And we're going to save this. And then once we have that set up, what we need is we need to now make an HTTP request. And this time around, the first request we're going to make is we're going to verify again to see if that slot is actually available. Not webhooks, but we're going to do an HTTP request, make that request, no authentication required. The URL is going to be this URL. We're doing a GET request. We need an authorization. And for authorization, we're using a call. You always want to put this here, the URL bearer, call API. Another item that we need is the API version, and that is 2024-0904. So that's what we are sending to get authorized. And then the query parameters that we need to set is we need an event type ID. I fix this ID. Take that. Another parameter that we want is we need a start. It should be the start ISO. And the end is going to be the start ISO as well. We also need the time zone, which is going to be our time zone. So that's the query that we need. So all we are doing is basically checking, hey, is this actually available? And then we will go ahead and route that. So if that slot is available, we want to do a couple of things. The first thing that we want to do is we want to go ahead and create the booking. So we need to verify based on the status code. Okay. So we will put a router in here. And the first module is going to be a HTTP request. And for this one, we're making a post request to the bookings because we're trying to create something. I will say no authentication, making a post request. In the header, we're going to need authorization. There, with our API key, we're going to need content type. It's going to be application JSON. And then we need our API version. For this is 2026-02-25. Make sure the API version always matches what's in cow.com. Otherwise, it's not going to go through. Okay. And then once we have that data, the data that we want to post here, for this one, we're not querying anything. We're not asking the database for anything. We're basically trying to create a record within the within cow.com, within the calendar. So we want an application JSON, which is what we mentioned. We said the content is going to be a JSON. We don't want to determine any data structure. It's going to be just a JSON string. And you can copy that from the Notion document that you have available to you. So these are the things that we're going to need from everything that's coming through. Okay. Okay, and then we'll go ahead and save this here. Now, there are a couple of things we want to confirm, right? So the first thing is if there is a slot with the HTTP module here, if we find a slot, then we want to make a filter, okay? Because we need a filter. So slots confirm. If the slots is confirmed and the status code is equals to 200, then we're going to route it this way. Otherwise, we're going to do a webhook response, okay? We're going to send a webhook response. We're going to send a webhook response, basically letting the assistant know that, hey, that time is not available, okay? So we will fix this here, and we're going to put that filter, we'll say slots not available. How you spell available, I think so. If a status code does not equal to 200, then we go forward here, okay? Save this. Authentication, save that. Yeah, that's fine. All right, now, once that is done, the next thing we want to do is we want to add a router in here because we're going to do another routing here. What does this do is one of them is going to give the assistant the data that, hey, we went ahead and created the appointment if it's successful. The other one is it's going to give a response that, hey, this didn't work. Okay. So what we want is if the status code, we want to set a parameter here. So status code, so let's say if the booking is successful, and that is the status code is equal to 201 in this case, then we want to go here. Otherwise, if the booking is unsuccessful, that is the status code does not equals to 201, then we want to go this route. Now for this one, we're going to send a response back. So webhook response status code is 200, and you will have access to what you need to paste in here. So we're going to send back the tool ID, the data, the start and everything, and let the person know, hey, we went ahead and actually created this. And then if there's nothing, if the booking failed, we want to go ahead and send another response saying that the booking failed. And then basically, if you look in here, I'm telling it to, hey, there was a problem completing a booking. Please offer to transfer the caller to a team member. Basically, what this does is it's going to tell the assistant, hey, if you're experiencing a problem, like send it to a live person. So if you're available, it automatically routes to your phone number right away. Okay. So that will be the automation. That will be the scenario for creating the appointment. We'll go ahead and save this. And then we will move on to the third scenario, which is to reschedule. So we will create another scenario. And for this one, again, we're going to start off with a webhook as well. So custom webhook. And we're going to create this. We're going to say dental reschedule appointment. Okay, we don't need any API key. It's fine. It's listening for data right now. We don't need to worry about that. And you can just save this. And then what we need again is we need that set variable. So we will go back here to our old automation and just copy it. Paste that in here and just connect it. Now for this, we're going to need a couple of things. We need the call API. We still need that. We need the Vapi, the event ID. We need a new start ISO. That's what we're going to do here. We need the name. We need the email. We need the reason for them rescheduling. You need a to call ID. Okay. And then we also need the duration, which is basically the, instead of duration, what you want to put here is time in minutes. And then we want to say 60. Okay. And then we will save that. Okay. And then what we would do is once we have that variable, we want to go ahead and find the existing booking because that's what we want to do. So we will make an HTTP request to call.com and no authentication. Our URL will be HTTPS for the booking. So we're going to do this. And we're doing a get request because we're trying to get some information. For this, for the header, you only need authorization, which is bearer. And then you need the call API version. And this one is going to be 2024-09, not bad, 08-13. Okay. So that's for our header to give us some permissions. And we're querying a couple of things. Okay. We need to query the attendee email. So to query the email, we should come from email. We'll query the attendee name, which should give us the name. We want our event type ID, which will assign to the event type ID, and we want the status. And that status is equals to upcoming. Okay. And we're going to save this right here. And then the next thing we want to do is we want to have a router, right? If the booking is found, we want to route to an HTTP. So if that booking exists, then we want to add a router here. I'm going to create a router. Now, if the booking exists, then we want to go ahead and like reschedule it. Otherwise, we want to send a response. Same thing like when we were creating the appointment, right? So rescheduling is basically a recreate scenario, but just with a different URL for making a post request to cal.com. So we'll make a post request again, and we need no authentication. This is post, and our URL here we should have access to is going to be for the reschedule. We're making a post. And for this, we need three things in the header. We need the authorization, our API key. We need the content type, which is application JSON. And then we need the API version. This is 2024 08-3. Okay, that's for our header. And because we're making a post request, we basically are going to pass in a JSON body. So we say application JSON. We don't want any data structures, just a string. Then we paste that. So all we need is basically the new start ISO, which is the new date, and then the reason for rescheduling. And then we will go ahead and save this. Now we want to go ahead and create a webhook response here, saying that, hey, if there is no, if it's not successful, we want to do a couple of things. Okay. Now we want to go ahead and add our webhook response here, and we will send a response back that will tell them that no upcoming appointment was found if it didn't find the appointment. So we'll set a filter here, booking found, and we say status code is equals to, for this one is going to be equals to 200. Save this, and booking not found. Status code does not equals to 200. Okay. Now, once we book that, we need to send a response back, right, to Vapi. And for this, we're going to need we're going to need two responses. So the first one here is going to be if it is a success. So success response. And for that, we're going to send back the new date, letting the person know that, hey, we've booked that. And then for this one, we're going to say, hey, like there was a problem or something, and then pass them to offer to pass them to a team member. Okay, so we want to put our filter on here, and we say reschedule successful. Status code is equals to 201. And this one here, unsuccessful, status code is equivalent, not equals to 201. Okay, I'm gonna save that. So, and then we'll just go ahead and rename this dental reschedule. Okay, save this. All right, so there you go for the third scenario, that is rescheduling. Next up, we will go ahead and do the scenario for canceling. Go back here. We're going to do create new scenario. Same as before, we're going to start off with a webhook. Okay, create a custom webhook trigger. We're going to call this dental cancel appointment. Save that, save this here. The next thing that we want, again, that our variable, we want that. So we're just going to go ahead and copy it from our old friend here. Copy this, paste it, and connect it. Okay. There are a couple of things that we will need in this one. So for this, we need again, we need the API key, we need the Vapi key, the event type, we need their email, we need their name, we need their reason for, because we're not sending in a new date, we're canceling. So we don't need a start ISO. We need the name, we need the email, we don't need their phone, we don't need the time zone, we need the true call ID, and then we need a reason for them canceling. Now, once we have that, what we want to go ahead is we want to check if that booking exists or if that person even have a booking in our system. So again, we want to make an HTTP request. So we'll go ahead and make a request, and that request is going to go to the bookings to check. So this is going to be a GET request. Authentication. In our header for this one, you just need authorization. RER. And then calc API key. And then you need the API version 2024. 2024. That's what we need in the header. And then we need to query and see, hey, is this available? So we need the attendee email. This is going to be their email. We need the attendee name. It's going to be their name. We need the event type ID. We have here event type ID. And then we need the status, which is going to be upcoming. Already. Going to save that. Now, once that booking has been confirmed, again, we add a router. Okay. And for this router, we need two filters. So booking confirmed status code is equals to 200. And by the way, a trick that I want to show you is this. Okay. If you find yourself repeating the same thing over and over, like repeating 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then go back and confirm, what you can do is just create a scenario. You can go ahead and create a scenario like this with just this part and just copy it all the time and just copy all the module and paste it into every new scenario. So the only thing that you will need to change is going to be your webhook, because all of this part 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, they're going to be pretty much the same. Okay. So you can just go ahead and just copy it from, like, for example, you can see here we did the same thing, the variable, get in the slots, and then this, and then this. Like in the get availability, we check the slots, and then this, and then this. So you can actually just create a scenario that mimics that entire thing and call upon it anytime. So booking confirm, booking not found. Okay, so we're going to say status code is not equals to 200. And we'll save that. For this one, again, we need our HTTP request. HTTP request, no authentication. And then we want to make a post request to the cancel. So it's a post request in our header. We need authorization. Let's capitalize this. Authorization is going to be our bearer API key. We need content type. Content type is going to be application JSON. API version. Just for speed's sake, I'm just going to paste all of these here, and then we can go faster. All right. And then once we have that, what we need is to send a JSON string. Basically, the only thing that we need to pass in when it comes to the cancellation is the reason for cancellation. That's the only requirement based on the cloud.com database. That's the only thing. So if you go to get our bookings, we get cancel a booking. This will work. There you go. Now you can see the only thing you need is your reason. And if you have like recurring events with that client, then you will set it to like true or false. Now let's go back. So we've got that reason. Let's save this. Before we go ahead, we're going to go and create our response for if we didn't find the booking based on their email. We want the assistant to let them know, hey, can we transfer you to a live person? And then up here, we're going to do a router again, and we need two responses. That is, if the cancellation was successful and if the cancellation was not. Okay, so we'll set a filter, CEO success. Let's put this capital. And this is status code is equivalent to 201. Save this. And the label, let's see, for this one is cancel failed. So status code does not equals to 201. Okay, for this, we need a response to send back telling them, hey, we've gone ahead and canceled that. Actually, my bad for this one. Let me confirm this. The status code success should be 200, not 201. So 200. So that 200. Okay. Now let's send that response. So we need a response here, and body is basically telling them appointment successfully canceled. And then this one, if we had a problem canceling the appointment, we can go ahead and offer them to speak to a live person. Okay. So those are all of the automation that we need. We're going to name this properly. Dental cancel. Okay. Let's save this. Okay, so let's go to building our Vapi assistant so that we can connect all of our automation. Now, to do this, we want to go to Vapi. Make sure you've already created your account and everything. And you'll go to your composer. And in your composer, we're going to start a new thread, and we're going to hit build. And right in here is going to ask you like what we want to do. And you're going to copy this prompt, and you're going to paste it in there. Now, we're going to change this name. So we're going to say you're John, a professional and friendly AI receptionist. I will go with a female because to give a sort of a nurturing voice, because most people find comfort in the female voice versus the male voice. So we will say, let's say Lexi. So you are Lexi, a friendly receptionist at the dental clinic. Your job is to answer incoming calls. And then our call flow is going to be when the caller calls, we want to give a warm greeting. Thank you for calling. This is Sarah. How can I help you today? We listen for what they need. And then they may want to book the reschedule or cancel an appointment and then follow the relevant process below based on their request. So now if they're booking based, if they are booking an appointment, we want to ask for the date and time. We want to call, and then it's going to call out get availability to. So we're going to change this name because I already have those tools in here. We're going to change that name. So get underscore dental underscore availability. And then we're going to go, I'm just going to copy this part. Okay. And then it will go ahead and check and then read back the time and everything, confirm the email. And then it's going to do all of these steps, follow all of the steps that we need in here. One of the things to pay attention to is when it's calling an email, because when it's calling an email, what happens is sometimes it might not get the correct email from the person calling. So we want to put some constraints, right? So once they choose the time, collect the following details: their full name, email address, confirm all the details back to the caller just to confirm your name is and your email is at gmail.com. And then it's going to confirm everything. Rescheduling, we want to do the same thing. Okay. So it's going to call the reschedule underscore dental underscore appointment 2. So it's going to call that. And then for canceling, it's going to call the cancel underscore dental appointment cancel. And then for the email, we're going to say follow this exact process. Every time they call and stuff and we're asking for the email, we want to ask the caller to spell out their email and say, can you please spell out your email address for me? Once you've captured the full email, read it back naturally as a spoken email address. For example, the email is, I put a sample email here at gmail.com. Say, and let me confirm your email is at gmail.com. Is that correct? And then if they speak it exactly as the human would say it out loud, do not read individual letters as with separate separators between them. Because sometimes it might say B minus B minus E minus 0 minus 3 minus 9. We don't want it to do that. So we want to correct that. So this has, I created this rule based on multiple trial and errors. So you want to make sure you're keeping this. And then if they say yes, move immediately. If they say no, ask them to repeat only the part that was wrong, then reconstruct the email and confirm. Okay. And then it says never break the email into two separate confirmation steps. Always confirm the entire email address in one single sentence. When reading back a number sequence in an email number, say each digit as a separate spoken number. For example, say 0391, not 391, because AI has the tendency of doing that. And you want to make sure this prompt, if you're building this for any other business, this could be for any service-based business, you want to make sure you stick to this part, because otherwise your AI is going to really mess up. Okay. Now, if the caller corrects you, only ask them for that specific part, and then we give it some general rules and stuff and all that stuff to follow. Now, we'll go ahead and make sure we go over here, make sure all of our tools are correct, and then reschedule. So it's gonna go get availability, and I choose one email, and then yeah, there we go. This I'm missing the one tool here, so it's gonna be the dental appointment tool. All right. And then we'll go ahead and hit this. Once we do this, it's going to go ahead and build the assistant for us. It will go ahead and build all the tools and everything. And this is amazing because it saved me a lot of time. I was excited when Vapi brought up this feature because it really saved me a lot of time from having to write the instructions out manually. Like build the tools manually, do all of the stuff manually. And that process was just tedious. Okay, so now it's already gone ahead and written the instruction that the system is going to follow. And then it's asking now, step 2 is to create the tools for the assistant. Before I create anything, I need one detail so your tools have the right inputs. What time zone should we assume the caller is calling from? Now, you want to specify the time zone here because one of the things that get mixed up in booking appointments and all of that when it comes to your AI receptionist is that it happens to basically miss sometimes. But it's going to actually ask the person calling like, what time zone are you in? We don't want that. We will say America, Chicago. So we will do that. If I can spell right, we will do that right here. And then we'll go ahead and enter that. Then it will go ahead and build all of the tools for us. Okay, so those tools are being created. All right, so it went ahead and built all of these 4 tools. So we will have to look for them. The assistant ID is right here. And then our time zone, America, Chicago, Vapi, Clara, that's the voice that it's using. And then it's using the model GPT-4o. We can change this later, but for now, what we would do is we will now go to Composer. Now, do you want me to provision a free Vapi phone number? Now, there are 2 ways you can do this. You can either get your phone number from Twilio if you already have an account with them or any other provider out there and kind of just set up your number. The only thing with Twilio and those providers is I believe it's called the KYC verification process for toll-free numbers. You'd have to wait probably about a week before you can go ahead and purchase that, but we don't need that here. So what you can actually do is Vapi actually provides numbers for you that you can use and connect your phone number, so you don't have to go through the KYC process. That's why I go directly through Vapi to set up the phone system. So to do that, what we would do is we would just tell it to use the current phone number that we have, or we can build a new phone number. So I would say, let's just get a new phone number for this one. VIS. Because if you are new, you will need a new phone number. So provision a free Vapi phone number for inbound calls. So we specify inbound calls here because you will need if you're performing outbound calls, you need to verify your phone number in the US. You need to verify. So let's say free Vapi numbers are US only. What 3-digit area code do you want? Let's say 952. Okay, so area 952 isn't available right now. Vapi suggests 313, 501, or 555. All right, let's go with 551. There you go. So now you have a free phone number and all of that you're going. So this is the number that you can put on your website, on your social media page, and all of that good stuff. This is what you can put on your page for people to call. And when they call, you have that AI booking your service right away for you. You feel me? All right. So now we go to our assistant. Okay. When we go to our assistant, we should see the dental research receptionist, Sarah. So this is Sarah. This is our receptionist, and you have your first message here. Thank you for calling. This is Sarah. Actually, you know what? I want to change this because I did tell it to change this to Lexi, and I went ahead and still used Sarah. So this is Lexi. Lexi. Uh, you're Lexi. Hi, this is Lexi. How are you today? And once we make that change, we want to publish that change actually. Uh, okay. So once you've added everything, I forgot to basically let you know that you have to publish it in order for it to start working. So now let's break things down here. How much is going to cost you per minute? It's going to cost you about $11, 11 cents per minute. And your average latency will be this based on this module that you're choosing. So we are going to see here, if we change this to from OpenAI to let's say 11 labs, if we have one. No, this is for voice, but you can change it to any model here. I will keep it on OpenAI because I think it's the best suited for now. And we're going to use the clusters. So you can go ahead and select the higher version and all of that stuff. But I prefer the cheaper version. It works fine and stuff. If you want the best, go and pay higher. But I think what we have right now works perfectly fine. And again, you can select whatever module that you want here. You can select Google, you can select any of these things here, Grok, all of that stuff, and it will work pretty fine for you. All right, so that's that. And then we have our voice here using Clara, which is going to be a female voice. And then the transcriber that we're using is going to be DeepGram. You want to keep it at DeepGram. It's the best I've seen so far. You can choose 11 labs if you want, but I just prefer DeepGram for now. And I think it gives better results based on my testings and stuff. Um, the thing is, what I'm trying to do is to centralize everything in here because if you select 11 labs, then you have to go and get a 11 lab subscription again. And the subscription economy is just somehow very interesting. But I mean, if you have the funds to go and spend, that's fine. But coming out, setting up a business for yourself, I think you just stick to the default and you kind of fine tune your system and everything based on your needs and everything. So let's go through the instructions here and make sure everything is okay. So its identity is set. Do not mention you are an AI unless the caller directly asks. This is very important. We want to keep that there. I'm Lexi. We want to fix that. Uh, I'm Lexi, the clinic's receptionist. Okay, and then keep responses short and conversational. Keep the call moving without rushing. And then default, everything in here looks good. Start call with thank you for calling. This is Lexi. How can I help you today? And then you'll go ahead and okay. Everything looks good. All of the tools are great. All right. So everything looks fine. Now, another feature that you can do here is you can select a knowledge base for your business. So let's say there are other things you want people come here not just to call, but to ask about your service or ask about things. So you can create a knowledge base file and literally connect it to this thing, and it will have your entire business and like information about your business, information about your services and everything linked to this place, and they can call upon it anytime. So if someone asks a random question outside of here, it's just going to go to that knowledge base and read it, and then boom, it answers them right away. Okay. So we made some changes here. We're going to publish that. Publish this, and then I'll go to logs. So under logs, that's where you're going to see all of your calls. The tools here are already connected. We have our analysis tabs. Everything looks good. Our advanced features, you can come back here and add some fallback voices, fallback transcriber. If we have anything here, you can add, if you are a company that functions under HIPAA compliance, you can activate that. Zero data retention, you can activate that. And then you have your webhook server link. We're not using this right now because we're not sending any information directly from the assistant. Everything is going to be coming from the tools. Okay. Our timeout, authorizations, all of these things, waiting seconds. You can customize this based on like whatever you need, like smart endpoint, enable for more accurate speech endpoint detections. Live kit is only available in English. So you can select all of these play around with them. I love the default settings. That's why I like just giving it the prompt and then it goes ahead and build it. And I've tweaked a couple of settings, tweaked a couple of prompts in there to kind of like just make sure that is when I do it once, it just go ahead and build a perfect system. Not perfect, not perfect, but a system that works. And then I can just fine tune it over time to test it out. All right, so let's go to the tools. This is the best part. Now, all of the tools here, we're going to be sending data to the tools. And we need the first, so we're going to start with our get availability. We come to our get availability, we're going to go back here, going to come to our webhook, we're going to copy this, and we're going to go to Vapi. I'm going to close this tab. We're going to go to Vapi, and we're going to scroll down to our server URL. So this is the webhook and to request endpoint. This is where we're going to be sending all of our data. And we're going to save that. And then the next one, the create appointment, we're going to go to create appointment, we'll copy that link, copy that, go back to Vapi here, go to create dental appointment. You can scroll down to server, paste that in there, save it. And then we want to go to, cancel appointment. Let's do cancel appointment. Copy that, go back to our dashboard here. Server, paste that link in there, save it. And then the last automation, obviously, that we need is the reschedule. Excuse my voice here. It's going to go to reschedule, copy that, and go back to Vapi. Find that dental, find that server link, and then paste that in there and save it. Okay, so now that we have everything created and everything set up within Vapi, and we have the webhook and everything, this is where you proceed to making the phone calls and then testing out each scenario to make sure it works fine. Now, for the sake of keeping this video at under 1 hour, what I'm going to do is the link for the full blueprint and everything is going to be in the description. You can go ahead and enter your name and email, and you'll be able to access all of the blueprint, the instructions and everything on how to build this step by step and how to set it up and everything step by step will be in there. And you will have full access to it for free. And if you have any trouble, reach out to me via the video in the comments and I can show you some things to do. However, everything else is set right now. And all we have to do is literally just run the test, make a phone call, test all of your scenarios and make them work. So you will have access to the blueprint and everything. All you do is when you download the blueprint, what you want to do is go to create a scenario and then come up here and click import blueprint. And once you import it, it's going to basically, so if I'll take, for example, here, when you import this, it will just go ahead and build that outright for you. And then all you have to do is activate it. Literally, there's already a scenario with that name. So that's why it's not taking. But all you have to do is just click activate and you're fine to go. All right. Hey guys, just something quick here. I noticed at the ending of the video, I told you guys to basically activate the scenario. So what you want to do is you want to go ahead in there. When you import the scenario, I'm just going to show you here. Import the blueprint. I'll take, for example, the get availability. When you import it, what you want to do is basically check and make sure to input all of your API keys, your event ID, and that's about it. Everything else should work fine for your response webhook. So, and once you do that, you'll be able to activate the scenario from here and it will run fine. So I just wanted to show that to you guys. Now let's get back to the video. So that's it for this video. I hope it was helpful for you. Like and share it. And again, if you have any questions, leave it in a comment. I'll do my best to respond to it. Anything else, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. And every week I will be releasing new tutorials that are actually helpful for you. As you know, I help simplify complex AI systems for businesses and content creators. So if you enjoy the content, go ahead and leave a comment, leave a like, share the video, and let's grow this together. Thank you.